Hi everyone, I'm Arne, a co-founder and the product manager in the KnetMiner team. Today, I'm really excited to finally be able to launch Graph Chat. We've been trying to come up with a clever integrated solution that lets you talk to your knowledge graph in an interactive way, but that doesn't distract from what KnetMiner has actually just always been good at. So here I've opened up KnetMiner and I'm searching inside of Arabidopsis thaliana, and I've done a gene list search with 10 genes. This is actually the same 10 genes that was used in an earlier collaboration with NASA Gene Lab from, I think, January or February of this year. These are genes that are affected by spaceflight and Arabidopsis. And so when I run those 10 genes through KnetMiner and I select all of them and I use them to create a network, what I get presented with is actually a fairly big network. Now normally I would have to go through all of these links manually and try and understand and build that mental map of how are these things connected. Now of course that's a great improvement over having to look through a bunch of different individual silos on different database websites and trying to understand how that data is connected. But with Graph Chat, I think we can level that up a bit. So here I've opened up Graph Chat and I've just told the chat to tell me about the 10 C genes that I've just inputted. And immediately I'm getting a response here. It's generated me a table. It's talked about the functions and the key, the genes. I can even select those genes, which is going to open up the info box on the right. It'll highlight the node in the graph, and it'll just give me a whole bunch more information about those genes. So I'm going to follow that up now and see which publications are actually detailing the implications of these loci in relation to germination, secretion, or physiological processes like root or leaf growth. We wait just a moment, and here we go. Very quickly, the language model has written back to me and it's citing publications. I can click those, they get highlighted in the graph. I can open up the info box, I can read more about them, see the PubMed ID, when they were published, the authors, the full abstract. I can click on different nodes, different evidences, different edges, and they will highlight. And if there is a pathway connecting them back to any of my seed genes, those original genes that we had used to create the network, those pathways are actually highlighted inside of the interactive knowledge graph. And that can help you to understand how it's connected. The Graph Chat actually is also aware of this underlying knowledge, so it will frequently cite those connections because those are what are actually truthfully what make that end node meaningful inside of your graph. Finally, I've asked, do any of the interactions in the graph have any potential for breeding? This might be a common question that you would want to ask as a plant breeder, and so I thought, let me give it a shot. And very quickly you can see we're getting some targets getting identified, and Graph Chat is talking about homologs here. I can even see the orthologs between two different species, and the percentage identity being highlighted as 65%, which I can open up the info box and validate that, yeah, it's all grounded inside of the knowledge of the knowledge graph. I hope you give it a chance. I hope you give it a shot. Let me know what you find. And it's completely free to use as long as you've registered yourself with an account. So I can't wait to see some of the stories and the benefits that I know you'll share.